Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going over some tips and tricks for the old cock, Cradle of Chaos. Poor wording, but I didn't do it, so I'm allowed to say it. Alright, let's get into it. These tips and tricks are going to be generic. They're going to be used across all seasons. Let's call them seasons of Cradle of Chaos. Originally, I was going to go through and document every mission, every enemy, every wave, every bit of equipment, the star value of the enemy, the arcane star value of the enemy. I am no longer doing that. I messaged Playcop. They said next season there will be new regions, which means new enemies, new waves, everything will change. The amount of time it would need to go through 75 missions and document all information is just not worth the effort for 8 days of information that people can use. I'm sorry, it's just not worth my time. I'm not going to spend hours doing that. I apologize. It just is what it is. But in saying that, the concept of Cradle of Chaos is always going to be the same. So there are generic tips and tricks that are always going to work across every season. So that is what we are going to cover today. So let's go into a quick rundown before we run into tip number 1. Cock. How does it work? There are 3 regions. Each region has 5 levels. Each level has 5 nodes. Okay, so if we click on Frost Peaks, which is a region, you can see there are 5 levels. If we click on level 3, there are 5 missions. To open up a level, you need to use 6 keys. Pretty straightforward. Using the 6 keys will open up the level. You go into the level. You do not need to spend any resources to complete these missions. You can attempt these as many times as you want. Remember though, if you physically complete the mission, if you kill the final enemy in a mission, there will be a tick on that mission and you will not be able to repeat it unless you restart the whole level. So ensure that you know what characters you're going to use per mission. You can select whichever one you want. You can start with 5, you can move to 4, you can be a bit crazy. Feel risky, go down to 1, then do 2, then 3, doesn't matter. But if you physically complete the mission, you will not be able to repeat it unless you use another 6 keys and restart the whole level. So the number 1 tip is managing your keys. You never ever want your keys to cap. They're an extremely valuable resource. So if that means that you're going to go to bed and you're about to start a new mission, start the mission. Use the 6 keys, open it. Even if you can't do any missions, at least you've used 6 keys and those 6 keys are going to regenerate over time. Okay? It's better to use them than have them sitting there. Number 1, use your keys. There is no disadvantage to using them. Number 2 tip has to do with progression. Now, it is no hidden secret. Cock is the hardest. Oh man, this just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Playcock, you did this, not me. I'm allowed to say it. Cock is the hardest content in the game. It is by far the hardest content in the game. I had people comment on my videos. I had people comment in private message that it's too difficult. It's the whole point. The game needs difficult content. It cannot simply release player-friendly content for everyone. It needs something that you are constantly going to be working towards. And yes, we have raids, event raids, but they're not fun, not in the way they should be. You still rely on 29 other people. They're infuriating. Let's not get into it. This is the first actual thing that is solo play. Everything relies on your heroes and you alone. There is obviously a pay-to-win element to it because you need to have arcane stars. But it is designed to be the purest endgame content in the game. It is the first game mode, new game mode that we have got that's not been a reskin of anything else. It's meant to be hard. So the difficulty level is going to vary on people and your heroes. But tip number 2 is coming with the progression. You need to push as far as you can. You need to push as far as you can before you go back and start reattempting old nodes. There's a leaderboard to it. You get better rewards depending on where you are on the leaderboard. But the rewards of progressing are far better than what you're going to get on the leaderboard. So try and get as far as you can. Even if that means that you get to a point, say you get to this mission here, mission 3, region 2, and you can clear 3 of the 5 nodes and then you're stuck. Even if that means restarting the level and then using different heroes on different missions so you can have a different accessibility when you're going back into those missions you couldn't complete. Remember, once you use a set of heroes and complete a mission, you cannot use them again in that mission. So If you've won a node with these heroes, go into that node again, use a different set of heroes, see if you can win, and then have your stronger heroes available for those other nodes you couldn't complete. Progress as far as you can before you go back and start trying to get a higher score on the leaderboard. Like I said, the keys are valuable. The rewards are even more so. Get as high as you can. Get these 13 chests, okay? These items are now crucial. If you want to progress in this game, you need to try and get to at least this level. This is Region 2, Mission 5. I'm not saying everyone will be able to, but just remember, every time you complete a level, you are getting slightly stronger with your account. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to lose a mission. Don't be afraid to exit a mission. If I click on any mission, let's go number 5, jump into the battle. Just going to use this team. It's not going to win. I know it's not, but we're going to jump in anyway. Is there anyone on this team that triggers the Bjorns? Let's go soft. No, stealthy. Does that trigger Bjorn? I just can't remember. Doesn't matter. We don't even get to that point anyway. All right, so we are going to lose Lucky in 2 seconds. There we go. She's down. Okay. I know I'm going to lose this. Press stop. Give up. Get out of there. Okay. You're not penalized in any way from leaving a mission. You don't use keys. Your heroes aren't locked. The lock only comes if you successfully complete the mission. So do not be afraid to exit the mission, okay? It's also the same if you straight out lose the mission. If all your enemies get wiped, or all your characters, get wiped out and you lose, you simply get thrown back onto this screen, ready to attempt it again. Your characters are still not locked, okay? You have free range to test as much as you want, okay? There is no penalizing you in any way. The only penalty, and I say penalty because you need to understand this, is if you do complete the mission and those heroes are locked, you cannot use them anywhere else. And remember, this game mode isn't necessarily designed from Mission 1 being the easiest to Mission 5 being the hardest, okay? They're all unique. They're very, I want to say, stagnant in difficulty across the board. Some are a bit harder than others, but it's not necessarily going to be 1 easiest, 5 the hardest. Leaving, and I'm going to add another tip into 3. I'm going to combine them, okay? This was a later tip, but we'll just go into it now. So 3.1. If you get to a mission, say we jump into this mission now. Let's get into it. I want to see if I can prove this to you. Oh, it'll be easier to explain it. We're in this mission. Let's go ahead and take out the Oraheim if we can. These are some chunky boys, aren't they? We are going ahead, just acting like this is actually... No, let's go Kabuto first. What are we doing? Okay, we'll take him out. Just going to have to sit through this. Just sit through this and watch, okay? Is there... why? There we go. The miss is gone. Am I missing something? Why are we miss... Oh, no. Cage has a chance of taking the damage, doesn't he? What a disgusting node. Okay, so say we take out this Cage. We've got the 1 character left. Beautiful. I know I'm going to win this mission. I know I can win this mission with this team. Okay? There is no doubt in my mind I can lose. I can say to myself, okay, it takes me 20 turns to win this. Instead of winning it, just press pause, press give up, okay? It'll make sense in a second. Now we go back to this screen. What mission was that? Mission 3, good. I'm going to take note. Mission 3, I'll write down the 5 characters I used, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and complete these other 4 missions without using the heroes I used for Mission 3. That way, if I get to a mission that I cannot physically pass, I can then say to myself, okay, maybe I need to use those wild elves I used for Mission 3 to clear this node. Then if I can clear that node, I can go back to Mission 3 and then try a different team. You are not restricted to testing. You can test as much as you want. Take it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. It will help you tremendously. People, I have no doubt, are just going, Mission 1, battle, these 5 characters, battle, do, kill, done, Mission 2. And then you're getting to the point where you get to Mission 3, you're getting to Mission 4, you've used 15 valuable characters, and you're thinking, how am I passing this? How am I going to get past this? So you've asked for it before. I know it's not the same thing as wanting a test server, but this is the closest you're going to get to it. The ability to test as much as you want. You've got your heroes. Test, see what works, see what you can win with. Even if you go into that mission 3 again, try 5 different other heroes, or 4 heroes, or 3 heroes, and write a list of all the possible teams you can win with before moving on to the next one. This is just going to save you keys in the long run. Because if you get to a point where you can't complete mission 3, you can't complete mission 1, you need to restart the whole level and you're going to waste 6 keys. So strategize, plan. I know it's a little bit of effort, but it's worth it. It really is. For the rewards, to get as far as you can, just plan. Even if you have to DM someone and ask for a bit of help, just do it. It's going to help you. Tip number 4. This one goes specifically to people who like to plan, like myself. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I'll mention it again. This season will change, or when the next season comes, the regions will change. That means the nodes will change, the missions will change, the enemies will change, the effects will change. If you are really big into documenting, maybe hold off a little bit, simply because the information may be completely useless after 8 days. Once this season finishes and we move on to the next season, I forget what the break is between each season, all that effort and work going into trying to document stuff becomes a waste. Now, the way Playcott were wording it made it sound like they weren't even sure, but there was guaranteed going to be a new season next time around. Whether or not they get to a point where they go back and repeat old seasons, yes, the rewards would be refreshed, everything would be refreshed, they're just reusing the old regions, I am uncertain of. So just document with caution. This isn't actually advice for the actual game mode, it's just advice for people who like to build maps, plan things, share information. I just would hate to see people wasting a lot of time for something we may never see again. We will see Cock again. We love our Cock, but the actual missions and the enemies we're facing and the effects will be completely changed. So just be aware of that. Maybe write a real broad plan, and then if it ever comes back, we know for certain that they will be repeating, and then we can work on it more then. But yeah, just be careful. I would hate to see people lose hours of their life for something that's going to mean nothing in a few days. Moving on to tip number 5. Again, not really to do with the game mode itself. Maybe a bit of a pay-to-win tip, but for those that weren't aware, the 2 keys you can purchase. So if I click on the keys, I can purchase 2 sets of 6 keys, so 12 keys all up. This refreshes daily. When the mode originally came out, I thought you got 2 purchases and that was it. So on that first day, I didn't buy my 2 purchases because I thought this was all we were getting, but it refreshes daily. So for those that are interested that didn't know the information already, these keys do refresh daily. So a total of 9 days, I think, or 10 days the event, let's say 10 days, you could buy a total of, 20 sets of keys. So 120 keys. To be honest, the price isn't horrible. 100 gold. I mean, if you're decently ranked in Arena, I don't know if I would recommend purchasing it for anyone other than people who really want to push those leaderboards. If you're a free-to-play player, I think you will do fine with just the natural keys as long as you follow in tip number 1, or was it tip number 2? I've already lost count. And you're just using those keys constantly, making sure they're refreshing and not capping. I think you should be fine. You will easily be able to determine whether or not you want to spend keys, but for 100 gold, it's one extra attempt at clearing 5 missions. Up to you. The price could have been a lot worse. I think it's reasonable. I mean, they've got to make gold somehow. If they're not making money from the arcane stars, they've got to make it from keys, I guess. So there are some pretty basic generic tips for the game mode that are going to span across every type of Cradle of Chaos possible. Let's go have a look at the leaderboard. Let's see what is happening. Ooh, Rosso, my man. How are you? That's not the big leaderboard though, is it? Season 1. This is the big leaderboard. So where are we looking at? 54,132 from the Chinese fella. So we got some big boys on the... Who do we actually know from this list? We know White Wolf, Tubby. Interesting. Juratan, my man. Grats. Top 10. They're the only people I would know. Royds, Grats man, doing pretty well. So there's some familiar people up there. Good work to all of them. Watch out. I'm coming slowly. You're Australian. You're just hiding in the bush for a little while. You don't know we're there. Just like every Australian animal, we're just lurking. The deadly ones. But anyway, those are the start of the tips and tricks. This will evolve. We will get more information out there. I hope it helps someone. If it doesn't, if you're just a cock pro already, good on you. Message me. Give me some tips. I'd love them. But that's where we are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.